what changes happened around academy squads?
Yeah, I suppose there was a lot of changes. I came in 2019, so over 5, 6 years, every year we probably grew and grew. The academies. So kind of probably initially really was just getting time with the squads. So when I started the role, then we started introducing S&C alongside the pitch sessions. So we were getting more time with the players from a coaching perspective and an S&C perspective. So we were probably getting access of probably 2 to 3 sessions a week, and we were combining that with gym, where previously it might have been a wee bit more ad hoc. So we were able to line our gym and our football and get more access to the players. So on top of that, then on their school holidays, so again we would have got them into Darver. We would have had our fitness testing days. We would have had our coaching days within the squad. So not just myself, obviously the staff would have helped out a lot with this as well. And then the summer holidays, we were able to get a huge chunk of work done. So initially, would have started out just gym and pitch, some from a physical side of it, kind of speed. We would have been in the gym, and then we would have had a football perspective. But then as the years grow and more finances came involved with the academy squads, then even 2 summers ago, then we would have got Anya, who's a nutritionist at the time for the academies, would have been involved. She would have been doing lectures across the summer on different nutrition modules, and then we would have had a kind of practical cooking demo at the end of it to kind of wrap it up, and the players all loved that. And then we introduced video analysis then as well, so we were kind of just breaking down championship games from the summer and going through different elements with the young lads as well. And then obviously then Gavin then came on board. Gavin Devon came on board last summer as well. So he was able to even turbocharge it even more, and he was getting involved in the coaching and working with the coaches as well. Before that, then so yeah, that's kind of probably the biggest thing. Before that, even there was another coordinator, Colin Kelly, come in as well. He was a big help in trying to get more traction out of the county board and coach recruitment in particular. So it was kind of a lot of people played a different parts in it, but each year just kind of built and built and built. Finances obviously was a big part in it as well, bringing in those extra coaches to oversee it as well, and being able to invest in the young lads' gear and the video analysis, the nutrition. So yeah, a lot of parts. A lot of the coaches obviously played a lot of part in it as well and invest their time. So a lot of people played a part in kind of building that.
Great, Ciaran, great. As I said, coaches, at any time, if you want to come in and ask Ciaran a question, absolutely, or put it into the chat box, and I'll get it here. So don't be afraid to come in and, as I say, ask the questions. I have another one here, Ciaran. Where did the coach education fit in the system?
Yeah, probably it played a huge part. Obviously within the roles within Leinster and within Louth, coach education is a massive part of it. So within Louth, we would have had a strand of coach education from probably even before I arrived. So again, the staff in the county are constantly out with the clubs. They're holding workshops. They're upskilling the club coaches on the ground. Within my role, then we'd athletic development workshops, some within Darver, some were out within the clubs. The county would have held a coaching clinic every year as well, like a lot of counties and schools do nowadays.
Yes, that's it. You're muted yourself there, Ciaran.
Yeah, no, it's not going.
That's it now. That's it now.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so then even then, last year then too, then within the academy squads, then when Gavin came in, then he was able to work very closely with the coaches, and anyone who signed up with the academies then got an opportunity to learn off Gavin and see, for me, probably one of the best coaches about at work. So kind of, yeah, it would have, yeah, it played a huge part in it, and always has really. It's probably just getting more recognition now because obviously the teams are going well, but the staff would have been constantly beating the drum in coach education across the county.
Brilliant. Anybody any questions there? Chat box. how many coaches would be we see, hold on till I get that, and hold on. There's been a question here come in. How many coaches would be employed now? Do clubs contribute to the funding of the staff who are working for the county, like the Dublin model, or are they all funded by the county board only? Ciaran?
Yeah, so well, I've actually left Loud as such. I'm still involved with the senior team. So when I was leaving, there was 9 employed. So I think everyone has been replaced or close to being replaced anyway. So there's probably between 7 or 8 at the moment. But yeah, no, as far as you know, everything is funded through Leinster and in Leinster. With Loud then put the staff in place within the counties. Obviously Dublin is slightly different, and as mentioned there, a few of the clubs in some of the other counties, I think Meath would have an element put in with clubs, so you'd have a staff member within a club, or maybe servicing a few clubs, and they put money in towards it. But Loud is all through Leinster. I think we did a few years back try that model, but we reverted back to Leinster's model. But yeah, I'm not. Yeah, the ins and outs of that wouldn't be above my pay grade.
Right, Niall, you have the hand up there. Niall, can you unmute yourself?
How you doing? Can you hear me there? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How you doing, Ciaran?
How you doing?
I suppose I'm coming from. I'm involved with Barry's GA8, so we're just up from junior into intermediate. We be a little bit of a smaller operation than when you're going into an inter-county, obviously, but obviously we're trying to adapt the culture and improve standards all the time, and the funds obviously wouldn't be there. So I have a guy in with S&C. We're doing winter program for the first time, getting them all together. But the nutrition is obviously another thing as well, and I'm sort of trying to, what would I say, put in a block of stuff where you get best bang for buck. Do you know where I'm coming from? Given the financials that you have and that you don't have, obviously. Have you any tips in around that, like if the S&C got? But the nutrition is definitely a big thing. You know, I'm adding on load to the guys, and everyone thinks it's great. They're getting, you know, the gym and then their pit sessions, but like the fueling, you know, that has to be matching what you're at. What's the best, I suppose, strategy that you'd say while getting someone in? Because it just jumped out to me there, you know, the guys doing cooking or, you know, doing a sort of a webinar. What would be the best bang for buck, you would say, direction you could take with that?
Yeah, like it is a tricky one because obviously financials are at play.
Yeah.
I suppose from my own experience in terms of obviously if you have the luxury of being able to get a nutritionist and S&C in full time or get as much time within the budget, it is ideal. But if not, kind of I find that maybe as a once off, the kind of group sessions, everybody sitting in a room, it doesn't really drop with the players. It's kind of only a box ticking exercise. I've done that at the beginning of the year. That's it, kind of done. So maybe for a box ticking exercise, maybe there's some young lads or new lads in that they get a wee bit of an education through that. But if there was a budget, there is online options. There is different courses. Maybe you could direct to the direct players too. But even if you identified maybe a couple of your players that maybe would really warrant nutritional work, and maybe trying to even direct them to somebody, if there was someone locally maybe that could take them in and work with if there was 4 or 5 lads that really warranted one-to-one and you need to keep on top of them and they really had to make changes to their body composition or their bad eating habits, maybe just direct them to the nutritionist. Even if the players would even put a small bit, like if it's going to benefit them, like players are always looking to get better, so they might even put a small bit of their own money towards it if they know they're getting a good service and they know it's going to benefit them. But apart from that, then it's really just kind of the resources that are online, kind of just your carbohydrates, your proteins, your fats, and fueling and recovering, and the different resources that is out there. Most of the provincial councils will have links to nutrition workshops. The GA have kind of launched different things too through the athletic development pathway.
Yeah,
So
you
they're
just
really
sort of putting up. I was thinking as well, even if you had someone local or whatever, some of the boys were on something on a WhatsApp where a few were buying in. You know what I mean? Like, so look, it's simple guidelines, but I definitely know it's without doubt sort of a, you know what I mean? Because it sounds great. You're overloading on the left hand side, and then you know what I mean. You're just trying to find that sort of a balance. But obviously, at club level, it's a little bit more challenging and whatever. But yeah.
Right, but even even the S&C who's involved maybe be comfortable dealing with presenting on
Yeah.
nutrition too, and he could work closely with it as well. And it's kind of yeah, both are being targeted, but again, either online or just finding someone that might be able to just work with a couple of players. Because the one-off workshops, yeah, they are great and they do an element of education, but players are kind of they nearly get one every year. They kind of switch off to it.
No, that's good. And I know Niall, you were saying it's a different level, but there's a lot of clubs now. A lot of clubs, it's they're at all this, as much as the counties, Niall, as you know, and Ciaran would know that. There's clubs, if clubs want to progress and get the best of the young ones, they'll do whatever has to be done if they can at all, and it's good to get on good practice early on and get them into good habits.
That's it, because you have a few young fellas that are sort of buying in, and they like when you bring that forward, that they show that you're putting in a bit of structure. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I suppose they've been junior for a long time, won the junior, just staying into me. So you're always just trying to,
Absolutely.
raise the standards. Yeah, thank you.
I'm very much aware, because I asked that question whenever you was registering for this a webinar tonight, that I asked what age group you're working with, and it's a mix right from a very young age level right through to senior club or whatever, and maybe even a few maybe at senior county or whatever on the age county. So template that can be something similar at any level. So you still want a good base in place. So I'll just move on to another question. If there's nothing else coming in there at the minute. How do you sustain success rather than relying on a good team or two coming through, Ciaran?
Yeah, I suppose there's probably no magic answer or no secret answer to this. It's kind of just really keep working hard. The players need to keep working hard. And the coaches need to keep working hard. And they need to be consistency. They need to be coming to Darver every week. They need to be getting their gym work done. They need to be getting out in the pitch. They need to be doing their conditioning. And they need to just be consistently just doing all the stuff that needs to be a top footballer nowadays. Keeping your standards high. Coaches demanding high standards of the players, of themselves, investing in themselves, and getting better. So then the players will get better. So again, like Loud, we put in a lot of hard work over the last few years, and obviously last year and this year we've had a good bit of success, but there's a lot of counties around us that have been doing it for a lot longer period of time. Like Meath, we've lost a final and won a final against them. Obviously your Derrys and your Tyrones, if you look at their school and underage success, they're consistently doing it. So for us, we need to keep working hard to close. Like we've done it for 2 years, but we need to be doing it for 10. Even Offaly won in All Ireland, won the 17s last year. So yeah, everyone just needs to keep working hard. Coaches, players, the whole lot. And again, it's not all deemed on success, obviously. It's nice to get it, but at that age, at 17s and 20s, it's all about developing players and giving them good habits. They know the investment of time that's needed at inter-county. They know how important athletic development is. They know how important their nutrition is. They know how important it is minding their bodies. They've good game IQ. They've good skill sets. Like at the end of the day, that's really what you're looking to do. To say success is great, but you're looking to make players that are ready for senior, and it's about showing up, working hard, and being consistent with your training. Like anything, there's no way. Unfortunately, there's nothing, no secret tablet or anything magic about it. It's just hard work and keep showing up.
Right, just a couple. There's a couple come on here, Ciaran. From Kevin here again. The coaching and the S&C. I'm guessing it was a connected approach, working off an agreed model for all the academies, minor, under 20, or was it a matter of coaches allocated and they went off and done their own stuff, a bit like what happens in the clubs?
Yeah, it was a bit of both. Probably initially, when I started it, obviously with me being over the S&C, that was able to stay all aligned because I would have been present throughout it. So from an S&C perspective, We would have been aligned from 14s through to 20s, and then obviously there was times I was up and down with the seniors as well. So we had that alignment from an S&C perspective, and we were able to progress players through the athletic development pathway. From a football perspective, yeah, probably at the beginning, it probably was in their silos. Obviously, the academy was probably one element. Your 14s, 15s, and 16s probably were collaborative, and then your kind of 17s and 20s. Then obviously, naturally enough, because it's intercounty, then were probably in their own wee silos. But as the years went by, it became a lot more collaborative. And then last year, then in particular, when Gavin came in, then kind of both of us kind of aligned in a kind of a loud way, which would have been a kind of a document, a document on how we ideally would like, when you look at Loud, to see a style of play, and we would have kind of, or Gavin would have designed certain topics that we would have given to coaches, but then we left it with the coaches then to design their own type of drills or ideas they had around the game within our topics. So there was that alignment and that thread throughout the squads. And now the challenge obviously is to just keep building on that when new management teams come in at all age groups. Then obviously you're starting all over again too, with bringing them on board with the Loud way. So it's an ongoing thing. Initially, from a football perspective, probably was, and then each year then it got better and better. And then last year, obviously, we kind of developed an official Loud way, and then that was kind of launched and brought everyone on board. And obviously, when Gavin put his weight behind it too, it was a big help in getting coaches to buy in.
Brilliant. Well, Mike has a question here. Was there, we see, hold on now, there's some good questions going here now. Was there any difficulty getting buy-in from some players when all the new standards and expectations were set? And if so, how did you change their mindset?
No, not really. Not at underage. Like at 14, 15, 16, yeah, or like all the way up to 20. No, you would have never had any real issue with buy-in. I suppose when they came into the academies, when I got them first, when they come in at 14s, they probably knew no different. They were coming in at 14s, and gym and pitch was a part of the norm. Or S&C and pitch was a part of the norm. Nutrition was a part of the norm. The time they had to spend in Darver was the norm. So that kind of just kept going up the age groups, up the levels as they got older. I suppose at senior level then, it'd be slightly different if players have been around senior panels and have kind of used to a way. But if you want to go to the top, you have to invest your time. You have to be athletic. You have to put your time into it, into your S&C, your nutrition. So maybe at senior level, if it had been new to boys, you'd probably find it more then. But in terms of academies, the kind of young lads are good these days if they think it's valuable and they see value in it, and it's part of their norm, and no different. There was no issue really. The only, as I said, obstacles you may have at seniors if players are stuck in their way and maybe don't want to invest that time to get to the top or chase the top anyway.
Okay, I'm just going to move on here because this question on here, Ciaran and Niall here. Maybe you have answered now. In terms of accountability for completing the sessions, gym or otherwise, away. No, I'll start again. In terms of accountability for completing the sessions away from thinning, what would you recommend in terms of strategy or system that's easy for players as well as coaches?
Don't trust them when they say they are going to do it away from you. But yeah, if it is being done remotely, obviously you have a lot of online, you have a lot of online options now in terms of S&C and programming. You have the different online platforms, your Team Builder, your Ripped, who are involved with the GA. You've numerous ones, platforms like that, and the programs go out on them. The players fill in what to lift, and you're able to generate reports then, not even just to keep them accountable, but also just to see how they're improving, how their 1RMs are improving, or how they're getting stronger in the different lifts that you program. So yeah, probably it's all through your kind of online options now. unless you have a few spies knocking about that can get eyes in the gym when they're meant to be there. But yeah, just all your online platforms, and then you can run any analysis you want. And if the players don't log the data, well then obviously then it's a point of conversation then to have what was going on here. So yeah, but ideally you'd like to get as much done when everyone's present as you can.
Niall T, maybe you can unmute yourself. Maybe I must. What topics was put forward to coaches?
Yeah, you're on about. I think it was it Devlin that was putting topics in that forward so the coaches could work. Would it be attacking? You know what I mean? Transitioning, defense. You know was it them sort of topics, and you can imply your drills in around it as a game-based scenario, obviously.
Yeah, it was just the different moments of the games, but then we just applied our own principles. We just applied our own principles then of what we'd look for in a loud team, and then we let the players and we let the coaches then grow it from there. And then obviously probably the main topic was just a high skill set, and let players then, or let coaches, sorry, how they wanted to go after that. And Gavin was there then to offer advice and kind of reflect on some of the stuff that the coaches did and the ideas the coaches came with, within that, if we want to use that high skill set within that topic then. So it didn't have to just be just your skills drills, like it can be done through games, but it was just your messaging and some of the messages and principles that we wanted within each one of the topics. And we kind of just had a few other.
It's an easier way to sort of like what I'm trying to, in a way, get across. Like, obviously, when you're in a game, you know, you have a few topics where, you know, you're getting your team to reset as a unit and know where they're going. And I guess that's the biggest challenge, really, isn't it? And knowing where they need to be at in different circumstances of the game, really, I suppose. That's the...
Yeah, and then every coach will have a different way of doing it, but it's just having an overarching view of to get to that point that you want to get to. I think if you just give coaches, there's 4 or 5 drills, I want that done to develop attack and play or whatever it may be, they're looking at you kind of, what is this? But if you can sell your message of what you want from your attack and play, what it looks like, obviously have a bit of shape around and what that may look like, and work within that confinements, but then leave it with the coach then to devise his drills, and then obviously the support's there to bounce over and back with, and it just becomes a collaborative approach instead of going, look coach, attack and play, this is what we're looking for, these are the drills we want you to do, but you're leaving the coaches with power to design their own drills, but just to have a framework to work within.
Right. Joey has one here. How long do you think coach or coaches should stay with the team to get full buy-in with the team?
Yeah, you can probably argue both cases. Like we've had the coaches within the academy go up the age groups into the 14s, 15s, 16s. In some circumstances, then some of them went on to 17. So they may have had 4 years with an age group, and then maybe stayed 2 or 3 years as minor. Like Johnny Clarkin, who would have been there this last couple of years, he had 3 years at minors, and he would have come up through the academy. He was probably one of the first batches when this all changed, that came into the academies. So he did to 15, 16s due to COVID, and then he was 3 years a minor manager. And he was brilliant. The boys all loved him. Obviously, a minor then it was a different squad at each age group, or changed each year, obviously. And then there's other cases then where you stay at an age group, so the 14 management says the same way. Same manager at 14s, and the players move up. Soccer is probably lends itself more to doing that. So yeah, I don't know. It's much of a muchness. I suppose it depends really. There's probably no right way or wrong way. Obviously in the GA people have maybe affiliation to an age group as well, or maybe not so much at county level, but at club level. They might have a son involved, or they might have a relation involved too, and they want to move up with them. So yeah, you can move up with it, or you can keep the management teams the same, and the players move what's right and what's wrong. There's probably merits for both. But I suppose it's just what fits the team or club or county that you're in.
Okay, we'll just move on. Shay, how many pitch and gym sessions per week would you recommend at under 16 academy level? How should player contact time be broken up between skill development, tactical work, athletic development, and S&C at this level?
You break that into parts.
You've been asked good questions now.
Yeah, just say the first bit again. Sorry, Tony.
How many pitch and gym sessions per week would you recommend at under 16 academy level?
I suppose it probably, just that first bit, it probably depends, and it probably depends on the time of year and what other stuff the squad has going on. So yeah, ideally would like to get 2. If you can get 3 gym sessions a week, that's great. And yeah, obviously then combine your pitch with that, at least 2 pitch sessions a week. But that obviously isn't always possible. Each county is different. In some counties, obviously schools are quite strong, so they would take an element of it. And there are certain times of the year then club is obviously quite hectic. So during the summer when club's up and running, or early September, October for us, there was a lot of schools football as well. You probably don't really get much access. If you're lucky, you might get 1 gym session a week. So again, it varies really on the schedule within each county and the importance of what's happening in a club or what's happening at schools, or each culture in each county is different. Long answer, probably ideally you'd like to get 2 anyway, 2 a week. And if you can get 2 pitch, that'd be great. If you can get a 3rd gym session, even better, but very rarely do you get 3. And then when it's a busy period for the player, you'd like to at least keep them doing gym work anyway, at least once a week. So again, it varies depending on what's going on for the young lad. No, and then there's another part after that, was there?
There was how should player contact time be broken up between skill development, tactical work, athletic development, and S&C at that under 16 level?
Yeah. Well, I suppose it's at 16s to break it up. I suppose you just have to see your priorities of kind of what you want. I suppose at 16s you probably aren't going mad after big tactical elements. Obviously the player's still development, so your priority for me anyway would be your high skill set. So really putting a focus on that and developing both sides, with a combination of doing that through skills, but then also through games, and having that as a big priority. And then within your games, then maybe as you go down the line and that's all evolved, then you'd start maybe tapping into your tactical element, or trying to secretly apply your tactical element within your games. But yeah, I wouldn't at 16s level anyway. Personally, I wouldn't be going mad crazy on a tactical side of it. I think it's about good habits, developing them, S&C, and then developing their skill sets and their game IQ within games / their skill set within games, and then tap in your tactical side of it. And obviously probably part of that will be kickouts, because we want to get our hands on the ball, etc. So that you'd probably start there, and then just within your games have small elements of tactical. If that was flooding an end line, maybe have that hidden within a game, creating 1v1s, etc. So you'd maybe hide that within your game instead of going real tactical heavy that you might see at senior level. So again, what that might look like in a pitch session night, then probably kind of have your warm up, maybe then an element of skills, and then kind of into your games, depending on what your focus would be, and then maybe finish with maybe a tactical game. Would kind of be my thoughts on it anyway.
Brilliant, Ciaran. We've seen hold on. Some great questions here. From your athletic development background, do you think focusing on improving skills or athletic development is more important for an underdog team trying to improve? And then in brackets, specifically from your experience in Louth, and for teams more generally?
Yeah, I suppose that at senior or underage, or both, as I say.
It doesn't say. John, do you want to come in and you talk about underage there, John? Let me see. Hold on. Did he come in? He's talking about underage.
Yeah, I think at underage, I think your skill set's most important. Like you want to develop high level footballers, and then you want to top that up, or you want to complement that with your S&C program. If they're only getting S&C and they were only getting football and no S&C, you're missing a big chunk of it. But I think your priority is developing a highly skilled player, and you want to complement that with your S&C program. And I suppose that's probably at every level, but at underage in particular, I think for me it has to be a high skill set. You have to really go after that. In terms of from athletic development standpoint, in underage, you just kind of be careful too of their training load and their growth spurts. In terms of kind of from a conditioning capacity. So a lot of kind of or on pitch condition speed capacity, but obviously you can go after an element of it in the gym, or you're probably have more access to them in the gym, because nowadays young lads have they're playing so many age groups, they're playing so many sports. You probably can't get as much athletic development on the pitch in terms of your speed and your conditioning. So the time you do have developing that skill set, if we can get some speed, mechanics, and going after that, yes. And then obviously within the gym, you'll have more time within the gym. But yeah, for me, skills gets key at all age. If you can't play, well, it's harder if you can't play off both sides, but if you can't get the ball over the bar. But some coaches that are good, they need to be able to run back and scramble and all the rest. But high skill set at underage.
Yes, very good, Ciaran. Vincent here, praising you here as working with the life development squads before Ciaran came in and been there as he started. Have to agree, the implication and knowledge of the S&C and athletic performance really took off in the county squads and clubs between implementing proper programs and running of resilience and athletic development workshops. Now the question: how best to build on this to get programs started for early ages, maybe at the end of primary school classes, and doubling up on secondary schools where we have the attendance of the players. Another question: if you only had a certain time with players in a session, and you could only do 4 to 6 push and pull exercises, I'm not so sure what. Did you get a gist of that, Ciaran?
Yeah, the first bit in terms of, thank you for the compliments, but the first bit was in terms of primary into secondary.
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose probably that's the challenge in every county too, is kind of coming to the end of primary school. But I suppose there at that age group there, it's a lot of your fun games, and it's a lot of fun through games, and kind of your agility is all kind of playing games and that side of it. And then if they have which some will, some won't, but again, then it's just starting introducing then your basic movements, your squat pattern, your hinge pattern, your jump and landing mechanics. So it's trying to get that, but then it takes time to do that. The staff, ideally, or easiest way to do that would be through staff coming in and rolling that out, but they have a lot on their timetables. They're coaching the football side of it as well, so it's difficult to get both done. And then obviously within your classes, you've got kids that'll be interested and kids that aren't too interested. Even from a football perspective, there's all that challenges within the primary school setting. If you can, it'd be great, or if you got access to a 6-class team, even better. But it's difficult in terms of for staff and those resources. In post-primary within Loud, yeah, it's probably one of our big games. Like, that's something that's probably a big thing that we need to improve. We need to get more schools, not just from athletic development. It'd be great to get our athletic development, but for me, getting high level exposure to football would be key. So again, a big focus of ours, like I said, when I came in first, we ran an initiative in RD Community School with a long-term goal of getting them to play at Leinster A. which would be the equivalent of the McCrory, which for the last 2 years they have. They actually won last week and they're into the quarter final now, which is great. So they've kind of really grown and grown and grown, but now the challenge is to roll that out within the other schools. So we have an initiative started last year within your second year groups, and we are looking to get the schools training more. There's a wee bit of funding then to help with that coaching and equipment. Within long-term aim then of that second year group. So last year, second years, by the time they're in sixth year, and that hopefully those schools will start entering a competing a day. In Laird, we probably have a fixation on the local competitions, which are great, but where you're going to get better and where you're going to improve is playing top level football, and that's playing in those 8 competitions. You just have to look at your Tyrones and your Derrys, and even Donegal are doing serious work at schools level and even at club level for masters, and the minor competition up there as well at club level. So yeah, post primary is it's a massive hole for us. It's something that we need to keep building on. Like that's where your high level football is at underage for me, is in the academies provide a certain amount, but it's 5 dates a year, and then you've challenge matches, and at 14s and 15s it's all blitzes. But you look at the school calendar and the exposure that they're getting. I think, I know I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there, and that's from a football perspective, but I think that's your starting point, and then coinciding with that, then you can if you've got that going, then you can go after your athletic development players have bought into your school program, and for us, it's, I think, getting schools that are willing to compete and able to compete at that Leinster A or that high level schools competitions priority, and then feed in your S&C. And yeah, it's been great to see RD compete at that level, and I've stayed there for a second year as well, and had a few joys at B level as well provincially. So that for me, that's been a huge thing, and hopefully this initiative from last year will we'll have a few more, hopefully in a few more years.
Very good. Just somebody said there, Jimmy said, we say, when you speak of the Louth way, is it not the case that all teams are playing the same way? I wouldn't say all teams are playing the same way as Louth at the minute now. But anyway, Kevin, did Louth adapt a results-driven mentality, or was it more about working on the performance, hoping for a result?
Yeah, I think it was just back to how do you keep maintaining the work that's been done. It was just showing up and getting the work done, working hard, having good coaches around the squad, having finances to help with the squad, put the program in place. You're combining your nutrition, your S&C. I suppose that really was the focus. There wasn't that over the wall, we're going to win XYZ by certain year. It was just about developing players. Like I said, at underage, the success has been great. Now we've had last year and this year, we're obviously we're in the finals last year and we got some silverware this year, but like I said, we've only been doing it, we've only had 2 years. There's other counties that are doing it for the last 10 or 15 years. So for us, it's all just been about producing players that can go play senior, giving them their good habits, and making sure they can excel at senior. And if you pick up trophies along the way, that's great, and thankfully we did. It'll be memories forever for people. But at underage, for us, it was always just about producing high quality players with high quality athletic players, and that was our priority, really.
Brilliant. Hey, we'll go on for maybe another 10 minutes here. This is a great chat here, and well, Ciaran doing a great job here. Another one here from Owen. In a county like Louth, where soccer is so strong, how did you navigate multi-sport players? Were there issues with getting kids to commit to Gaelic football at the age where prioritising becomes important? Yeah,
soccer is always going to be a challenge. There's a few strong rugby clubs too, but soccer in particular, it's always going to be a challenge in Louth. We obviously have Dundalk and we have Drogheda. And soccer is soccer is big in both. I suppose probably when I started in the role, Dundalk were just coming off all their European campaigns, so You're watching all the Dundalk jerseys run around town, and it's nice now seeing more loud jerseys running around. But yeah, in terms of with the squads, it is a big issue. We have a lot of boys playing soccer, and soccer are quite stringent on releasing players and underage players to play in Gaelic with academy squads a certain age group. So yeah, we probably don't have all our best players at underage and even minor teams this year and last year in particular. There's probably 2 or 3 really strong players that wouldn't commit as they were playing Dundalk and draw the 17s. Now one player came in near the end, so we don't always get players the best players maybe into their age groups, but do we make a big deal out of it? No, maybe we should. I don't know, but no, we wouldn't really. We'd leave them within squad if they're good enough to be in a squad, and we leave them within the squads, and we just manage it as best we can. But again, the soccer route is only for so few. Usually by 20s comes around. Usually by the time senior comes around, they're back playing Gaelic, and if they're not, and they've made it in England or they've made it with a contract, well then fair dues to them. But no, we don't. Yeah, it is an issue. We don't get all our best players playing Gaelic, even still now. But if they're good enough, and some of them will still be playing with their club, and if they're good enough, and the soccer kind of falls away, usually you get a good few of them by 17s, and if they haven't made it with a contract, they're usually back in by 20s and senior. So yeah, it is an issue, but hopefully, obviously, the way Loud's going, it'll be more attractive. But soccer is an issue. But like I said, only a select few will stay away from Gaelic forever. Most of them come back, and that's for all sports. So we don't make a big song and dance about it or put any stipulations in.
From James here, are there any short-term courses you'd recommend to an under 16 level club, to under 16 level coaches that would be useful as a starting point? Something that would give basic knowledge on what type of S&C work players should be doing based on their age and physical development. So are there any short-term courses?
Yeah, well, I think the Crow Park have just launched a kind of whole S&C athletic development course. If you just even go onto the GA website, you should see it. Des Ryan would have been involved in it. I just can't think the name. It's kind of much since I've left. But yeah, they've launched a full stream of an athletic development plan and course. It's free. So yeah, if you just have a look online for it, it's a very good course. I think Kerry are actually rolling it out. If you even look at their social media, they're rolling it out, I think, this weekend. So even if you look there, but yeah, the GA have loads of resources there. Even the Leinster website have loads of athletic development resources, even for underages. So there's loads within the GA education library. So if you get online, you'll see loads in there, and just have a look for that new course, that the new athletic development course they've just launched. It's super. It really is very, very good. So yeah, get involved in it, or even contact your local staff. They'll probably be able to point you in a direction, because it's across all the provinces. So it looks a brilliant resource.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Niall here is asking, Ciaran, are your coaches with various academy squads, are they mainly from the clubs as opposed to having county GDA coaches involved in each squad?
Yeah, well, we'd have a GDA, we'd have a staff member with each squad as well, and they would kind of work as liaisons and obviously help with a bit of the coaching with the squads. But yeah, primarily we would take in volunteer or external coaches, then come in, and they are the lead with the squads. So then obviously with the staff member there, we're constantly plus with the role Gavin's in as well, and obviously person who's my role as well, or the talent development lead within the county, then are working within all squads to kind of help the coaches and upskill the coaches. But they're primarily from outside. So yeah, club coaches coming in and taking squads, and assisted then by the staff. But yeah, the volunteer coaches is the lead is the lead coach or the lead coaches.
Very good. This is the last one. Ciaran, I'm sure you've done a great job here. This is from another Niall.
No panic.
He's 2 questions here for you. Forson, what age should clubs start to introduce S&C? Whether it be the gym movement prep and then the actual lifting weights. So this person's asking what age would you start?
Yeah, I suppose kind of obviously depends on your player and how mature they are in terms of taking on information and in that environment. Ideally, I'd like to start at 13s or 14s, and probably 14s is probably the easiest age group to get at. But yeah, probably at 14s you'd look to get it started. But again, it'd be very basic. Like it might only be a 10, 15, 20 minute segment before you go into your pitch session. And again, then it's just about progressing them through the movement. So if you're talking about your squat, you might start with a body weight, and then you just keep layering it up as they get older, to then eventually then having a bar on their back. Again, same for your hinge, your lunge patterns, your push and your pull patterns. So again, you just layer it up, but you might start at 14s and it might be a 15-minute segment. By the time it's at 16s, it might be a half an hour segment. By the time they're minor at 18s, you might be talking at a 45-minute segment. Yeah, obviously you might have moved indoors at this stage. And so again, that 10, 15 minutes, like your different jumping and your landing as well at 14s. Like at 14s, you might be able to get away with it out on the pitch and it's just easily slotted in before you start your session. You're doing your different movements, you're doing your different jumps, you're going into your pitch session. And then at 16s, then again, you just layer it up even more. With more time given to it, and then at minor, then you might be looking at a 40-45 minute session and then onto the pitch, because again, it's easier to get them in the club the same night as training. Obviously parents then, if you're bringing parents out another night, they might have other sports, so it can get difficult. So again, 15 minutes maybe at 14s level before pitch, 30 minutes by 16s, 45 by 18s, and like it might only be 4 or 5 exercises, but you just tear it up as they get older, and if they have a basic understanding of that, by the time they get to senior, then whoever's a senior S&C and they might be there more full time, they're going to have a very, very good base to build upon.
Brilliant. The second question Niall has asked: how many of a management coaching staff is needed at club senior level? At what stage does it come to too many chiefs spoil the broth? He's asking how many coaching staff should you have, or many management teams should you have at senior level? He's talking about the senior club level.
Yeah, I suppose it all depends on the people you have. You have some managers that manage and coach. So if that was the case, if they're managing and coaching, probably one other coach to complement that would be enough. And then you have your S&C coach on top of it. Obviously at club level, he mightn't be there all the time, but yeah, you'd have an S&C involved, hopefully in some capacity. If it's a manager who just wants to manage, probably yeah, maybe 2 coaches. Again, it just depends. And then obviously you have your S&C then as well. And then behind that, then you might have, depending if the manager wants to be dealing with logistics and all that. So again, if he's a manager coach, you might have someone on the backroom team that just deals with all the logistics and messaging and dealing with county boards and or dealing with committees, and if there's buses or if there's food or if there's events. And if it's a manager, he might need that person because he obviously has more time to do it. So it just depends on who the manager is. If it's a manager coach, probably one more coach, and then an S&C in some capacity. You might have a logistics guy even just to offset it. If it's a manager then who doesn't coach, then just 2, maybe 2 coaches, maybe 1 coach would be enough. Just all depends. But I don't think you need any more than that. But at club level anyway.
Right. We see now Vincent here. Ciaran, he's talking about 16 to 18-year-olds here. Ciaran, if you only had a certain time with players in a session, and I had to push you on the best 4 to 6 push and pull exercises, which ones would you recommend?
Yeah, well, I probably wouldn't just go all upper body. You'd probably just have a blend. You might have just 6 exercises within your session, but you'd have a certain, maybe a vertical and horizontal power exercise. You might have a lower body strength exercise. The second day, that might be a lower body single leg exercise. You might have some sort of hinge. So you might have an RDL or a hip thrust maybe on another day. If you're putting another hamstring, you might have more of a knee dominant exercise. And then in terms of your upper body, for me, you want a horizontal push, so you're kind of bench, a vertical pull, then your chin, and then a vertical push. Then you're probably, for me, like a half kneeling kind of landmine press or single arm press, and then a horizontal pull. So inverted row is probably my preference. And then after that, then if you're maybe working with an adult team or a club or county, then you may add in your different cable variations if you've that at your club, or your different dumbbell variations, or your different row variations with dumbbells. So again, something along those lines, a power, main strength exercise, some posterior chin hinge type exercise, and then have your push and pull, and then build that out. What you have in one session, then kind of complement your other session. Probably that's I've really quick synopsis of programming, but quite basic there. But doesn't need to be too fancy. But yeah, along those lines. If you want to go more detail, just draw me an email.
Hey, I see you're getting a lot of thanks here already. Ciaran, I'm going to finish up with one question here, coaches. I'm just going to ask him, and Ciaran here. This has been absolutely brilliant. I'm going to ask him, what advice would you give any club in the country wanting to improve from the ground up?
I think it starts just with an investment of time. And that starts with the coaches investing time in themselves to improve from a coach. So you obviously have all your different coaching resources that are out there. You have all the different GA levels, your foundation, your level 1, your level 2s. As I said, you have a lot of those coaching clinics around the country. You have the webinars like tonight, and different other online platforms. So invest in time in that football. If obviously you're a football coach, really invest in becoming the best coach you can be. At underage, then you may need to branch out or get someone on your management team, but branch out into the athletic development. Again, if someone has an interest in that, or if it's the one person, then obviously again there's a lot of online courses again through the GA. Invest in that. So again, that investment of time is probably the biggest thing. And then obviously from your players, then they have to invest their time. They need to be showing up to training on time. They need to have an open mind. They need to be coachable. So again, they're investing time in being coached. They're getting their athletic development done. So again, if both the players and the coaches are investing time in getting better, that's a good starting point. And then obviously you need collaboration then with your committee or your executive within the club, and they're supporting what you're doing. If there's small things around food or different things like that, but everyone's on the same page and working together for that same goal. Like maybe you'll have to do a wee bit of fundraising, like simple things around the club. Your team take a lead on it, and then that shows the club you're giving back. They'll give you a wee bit more. Unfortunately, probably quite a few things and resources in regards team do need finances. So again, it's working with the club to help that. And yeah, I think just there a lot of people working for the same direction. That's coming from your committee, your management team, the age groups that are around you, if they're on the same wavelength. And if you're an under 14 coach, that the under 16 coach isn't pulling your 14s away and knocking again. There's collaboration there. So again, investment in time from you as a coach, your players invest in time and being coached, and the other resources around that, your athletic development, your nutrition, and then working closely with the club and everyone's on the same wavelength to achieve whatever that goal may be, producing the best player for senior footballer, and everyone's on that same wavelength. I think you have a starting point. If everyone's doing their own thing and they don't like the committee, and the 16s manager is pulling the 14s players and they're rowing, and then you're just showing up 5 minutes before training and putting cones and thinking that's going to get buy-in from players, it's not going to work. The players want to see you investing in them. So if that's a half an hour earlier, the pitch is landing, then the players are landing. So again, collaboration, investment of time, and everyone having the same goal. Excuse me.
Ciaran, absolutely brilliant. A couple of sponsors already here to thank you for being so honest and refreshing with your answers, and wishing you the best of luck in 2026 and all. Ciaran, I'd just like to thank you. Thank you so much for doing the webinar for us tonight. It has been absolutely brilliant. I'm sure the 70 coaches plus that was on got a lot out of that session. So thank you to Ciaran very much, and the best of luck in 2026. To the coaches, could you please, as I said to you, coaches, I'll be sending out a wee feedback form. I want you to please, I would like you to complete that for us, please. And all the very, very best in 2026 and further ahead with your coaching. So thank you very much to everybody, and good night, everybody. And good night, Ciaran. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, and best luck, everybody.